Sir, we will start within a few minutes.
Okay.
Participants need to
Fine.
arrive.
Okay.
Krishna, Krishna,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
let's start.
Okay, sir. With warm greetings, I extend my warmest welcome to one and all invited here. This is Sai Krishnan, pursuing my engineering degree in the Department of Electronics and Communication at Chennai Institute of Technology. We are analog beings living in a digital world facing a quantum future. Chennai Institute of Technology, the college has not left any stones unturned in making its students worthy citizens. The time as a caterpillar has expired and the wings are ready. Yes, it is about transforming lives. It's been just 10 years since CIT has stepped in, but the victories of CIT are huge under the successful guidance of our Honorable Chairman, first generation entrepreneur, Shipi Sriram. It is indeed a privilege for all of us to get the opportunity of attending these webinars. To be short and crisp, yes, it is all about Knowledge 4.0. Today we have our expert, Dr. Pandiyarasan Veluswamy from IITDM Kanchipuram and our organizing secretary, Dr. R. Dhanagopal. I feel much pleasure in welcoming you all. Now, speaking about our today's chief guest, Dr. Pandiyarasan Veluswamy did his Bachelor of Engineering degree in Electronics and Communication in Anna University. Then he did his Master of Technology in Nanoscience and Technology in Anna University from 2009 to 11. Then he did his doctorate in engineering from 2014 to 17. He specialized in the domain of wearable electronic devices and his research interests include self-powered wearable devices, textile nanotechnology, and smart fibers of energy harvesting, and many more. He has received many awards and recognitions, which include the Recognized Reviewer Award in the Journal of Hazardous Materials, and many more. He has held many positions from being a scientific officer in SRM Institute of Science and Technology, followed by assistant professor in the same institution. Since October 2018, he has been the DST Inspire faculty in IIITDM Kanchipuram. We feel much pleasure in having you here, sir. So now, without any further ado, I request you to take over the session, sir. Please, sir.
Thank you. Thank you,
Thank you, sir.
organizing team. Thank you, CIT institutions for Department of Triple And so he, so it's audible, right?
Yes, sir.
Fine. Okay. So the today's topic, the theme IoT. So the applications of IoT and healthcare devices and application was our entire STPT program. Okay. And here, what we're going to see is today is renewable energy for the future of IoT applications. So that in the sense, whenever we talk about IoT applications, it have a many application aspect it can work on IoT in terms of things. Like example, it can work for the smart applications like smart sensors and smart detectors, and it will be working on the, for example, like ECG signal monitoring wireless. So generally they use a wired connection, so wirelessly it can transfer to the smart mobiles. So healthcare applications. So all the kind of few examples they can do, but basically it comes about most of the healthcare applications and IoT applications considered as a wearable electronics. So that means why we going for wearable electronics is, so whenever we talk about day-to-day daily life, so we need to blend closely towards our skin. For example, if I want to wear it in my forearm, so it should be wear it on the surface mounted. So surface, it should be dependent on whatever the devices I can able to mount it, it can be mountable. So due to that reason, so people are moving on wearable devices for more surface attachment as well as throughout spread throughout the area. Because of that, we can get accurate prediction from the healthcare applications. So that is the reason that people are moving for the wearable electronic applications. If we say general consideration of the roadmap starting from 1771 to till day, so if you see the initial grade textile industry was the major development, then railways, then automobile industry, then computer, and from 2000 1997, that is early of 2000 onwards, nanotechnology. But if we see the consider, like if we talk about the IoT applications, so the materials aspect and the technology aspect, it comes nanotechnology, and applications majorly involved in textile industry. So again, we come up with the latest technology combining with the earlier one. So like nanotechnology with the textile, nanotechnology with the roadways, nanotechnology with automobile, nanotechnology with computers. So all the industries are interconnected, like interdisciplinary towards the nanotechnology, which is gives the efficient of energy which can use it. And what do you mean by nanotechnology? This is general outline of nanotechnology. For example, here we can see uh, there is a square box. Like we can see here, it is a square 1 centimeter cross 1 centimeter square cube is there. So in this square cube, we can see the total surface of area. The first one, it shows like around 6 centimeter. So it shows 6 centimeter square. But when we see here the second square cube, it chopped about 1 mm. We can see it can able to cover the surface area of 60 centimeter square. So when we chop the square cubes into the 1 nanometer, we can see that 60,000 of like centimeter square cube can be generated. That is, in the significantly, we can see that from bulk, that is bulk means big size to small size, so it can increase the surface area. So this is the ultimate aim for the emerging technology was nanotechnology was implemented in all the industries. And what are the ways and approaches of nanotechnology was implemented? Like nanotechnology was implemented on two different approaches for fabrication of the devices. One is a top-down approach, other one is a bottom-up approach. So top-down approach generally called as like a physical methods. Bottom-up approach called as a chemical methods. That is, we take some molecules, atoms, all those things, from molecules, atoms towards to nanomaterial. That is, the nano means 10 power minus 9. So till that range, it will be designed. And if you get top-down approach, as we seen earlier, like a bulk material. So from the bigger size to smaller size, it's keep on moving by using physical methods, like you can chop it, like small size grinding it, or else you can go with the coating, like evaporation method. There are different methods of coating techniques. So by using coating techniques, we can go on that. So these are the two different ways the materials can come into fabrication point of view. But how the IoT is dealt with all the scenarios in wearable application. If you see here, there is a roadmap was given in the technologyreview.com website. So we can see there are different applications in the IoT overall property. For example, starts from smart homes. So in the smart homes, generally people are using as a thermostat only, generally for smart thermostats, and connecting lights like a smart sensing light, like when the person PIR, person identification sensor radiations, like whenever the person getting in, it can detect it and it can on off. So like that energy saving aspect, the people are working on smart refrigerators and smart door locks, smart ACs. So all those things are smart in the sense it can mean it can identify and it can work based on their own decision. So that is, so it's not required any dependent thing. So when we see the second aspect, like a wearable application, smart watches, activity trackers, smart glasses. So all these applications are have not only for the one aspect. For example, if you take a smartwatch, so smartwatch is not only for the watch can able to show the time alone. It can show for the our physical aspects like a step count. It can show us as a pulse monitoring system. It can show us about the heartbeat pulse system. So there are multi-application, multi-scenarios was involved in this. So that's why it becomes like a smart. And there are different applications which we keep on going on. So we majorly working on the wearable applications, because since wearable applications have major role in our day-to-day daily life, so due to that reason we working on the wearable applications. So why we moving wearable? If we just consider backward like a roadmap, see initially if we see like in like 1980s and before 1980s and all, so we can see the bulk. There is a big size of the machines are very important in that. But later on, what happened? For example, if you take a TV, the TV is moved to back size. So we can put a TV in your back size. Then now we are moving in a pocket size. Now, like the future and the current technology was researching on the body mounted or the cloth mounted. So body mounted means, so it will be again deals with the surface mounting. So wherever you want to mount or your body surface, it will be has to be fixed without any interference of that. So that's why the generation was keep on moving from so larger size to smaller size and towards the more compatibility and more size effect. And if you see one example, watches, so 1501, so like if you can see, so Peter Hellman was developed the watch which can in the analog watch. So in this analog watch we can able to, it's not a wearable but it's a hangable one. But if you see, the HP was developed in 1968 and it was released in 1972. So digital watch was developed in HP. But these two are only for the purpose of the time zone to show. But if you go again, so HP was 1975, it was developed with a multifunctional watch. So that is it, the watch as well as a calculator. So it can show the time as well as it can able to do the calculating purpose also. Calculators, we can use it. So then in 1990s, we can see there is a tremendous increase in the application wise, like example, multifunctionals. Like as we are right now working on the multifunctionals, like example, for example, we can say Mi Band and the iPhones and the smart Samsung watch. So all those watches and the bands are gives about the physical like healthcare applications also, as well as it can gives the time zones also. So and now the future was expecting more than that with the low power devices which can work on the very low power, so it can go for the longer duration also. So that is the future was expecting. But if you see the current scenario in the global wise, how the wearable technology was more important and how the investment and the technology booming was going on. So if in that cases, if we see, so in globally we can see from 2014 onwards to 2019 till last year, we can see there is a tremendous investment for the global market for the wearable applications from $5 billion to $30 million. But if you see in that region, only for the Asian Pacific, our region alone, we can see the 50% of the wearable device applications are majorly involved in Asian countries, whether it's buying or whether it's marketing or whether it's coming upward in the real-time scenario. So all the aspects we are seeing here, so Asian Pacific wearable devices is the 50% of the global market was investing. So that is the reason the wearable technology for the current scenario, it was very important in Asian Pacific. The people are working on as well as the sales point of view as well as the R&D purpose also. And this is a general outline. What are the wearable applications the can work on different applications? If you see example, the business operation first point, so you can go with the ticket, even tickets collecting and the ticket to stock management. Like there are mobile robots which can go and find out the with the help of the IR radiations, you can find the stock registers and the event ticket managers. We can see customer service point of view, you can see the smart wearable glasses. And the next one we can see the security point of view, it can able to handle the remote surveillance and the remote monitoring system. So real-time data collection also we can continuously we can make in it. If it's a medical aspect, we can see body augmentation, like measuring and analyze the data and keep on monitoring the continuous monitoring of the body data like ECG, EMF and EMG and EGG. Remotely we can monitor it and we can able to keep the data correctly and we can predict the data with respect to that, whether the system of our entire body is have any difficulties going to face future. So those all those things prediction also we can able to do it by using AI and machine learning. And keep on, we have a different applications, we keep on moving. So this is a general outline about the wherever the wearable applications keep on working on. And we working on the fabric, especially on why the reason is the people are moving on the fabric based devices, because the reason is fabric are very close with our body nature, body surface, as well as day to day we are going to wear the textile, and that textile and the fabric which is going to give a smart nature in the application, which will be more generous in point of view. So that is the reason that most people are nowadays is implementing and involving in the textile based technologies. And if you see the outline of the textile based technology applications in the IoT applications, for example, not only limited to IoT, even behind that, if you see, first we start with the hydrophobicity, so which is water rippling. So the textile cannot absorb the water, it can ripple the water. And the next one we can see the electromagnetic shielding. So electromagnetic shielding, in the sense we can see it can able to block the electromagnetic, that is, so the EM of electromagnetic waves cannot able to penetrate towards your skin, because whenever the electromagnetic rays or the UV rays can penetrate towards your skin, it leads to cancer or the skin effect defects will be occurred. So to avoid that, what people try, so electromagnetic radiations majorly involved in like towers and the X-ray rooms, all those things. And UV rays is a day-to-day life. We are using sunlight. From the sunlight, we have three different regions: UVA, B, C. So UVC is not reached, that A and B will be there. And if the A and B tends towards your body skin, it tends to cancer. So that's why the people who are always wearing with the different colors, and the dyes and colors was implemented to protect the UV rays from the sunlight and illumination. So there are many different applications, even wrinkle free, which is available in India. So no need to ironing every day. It's not required for your ironing for your lifetime. It's a wrinkle free. The shirt was developed by the Arrow Shirts. It was developed, and even the breathability. It can filter the your like kind of mask. But what we doing in our lab is we focusing on the three applications. So one is like a hydrophobicity, UV protection, and the thermoelectric. So the thermoelectric, which is like a heat energy to electrical energy, the body heat can be converted as a voltage. So that is the purpose we are working on these three applications. And finally, we are moving on to, so how the technology will be involved and what are the sectors it majorly working on. For example, if you take any flexible electronics, there are the three different applications people are working on. One is IoT, other one is a mobile healthcare, other one is a smart cities. So if you take any sectors of the future applications, it can involve again four more subcategories, like a communication, as well as integrating circuits and data management and energy. So communication in the sense, it can able to, for example, if you take a mobile healthcare devices, the ECG monitoring is going on from the body, it can able to communicate towards the smart devices like a mobile phone or the further any devices. If you get an integrating circuit in the sense, so the multi number of the chips can integrate into single chip, and it makes more lower power, ultra power of consumption can be taken place. And the data management is not daily data, it has to collect it, and it also predicted what will happen in the yesterdays and what will happen in the futures. So finally, energy. So for all these three, we have to run it and we need energy. So what happens, so we can compromise like based on the application aspect, like if it's going on the more communication point of view, we'll focus on more communication. If you more focus on the ultra power sensors, we go with the integrating circuit. If you more data aspect, we go with the data aspect. But all these three we can interrelated each other, but we can give the variations each other based on the applications. But energy, we can't do that. Energy is remain same. So the energy is major role for all this. We can compromise each other, but energy we cannot compromise. So that's why we focus on our research lab. We focusing on the energy applications. So when we talk about energy applications, what will be the generally it will be. So whenever we talk about renewable energy, so it should have a new renewable energy, but it should have protect the human life. It should not affect the human life. So that is a major scenario. For example, if you see today's challenges is global warming. If you see the global warming, there is a decrease of energy resources. Due to this, what happens, CO2 emission was keep on increasing, and the like a sea level shows it's keep on coming up. So due to that, we need some energy should renewable in a green nature. So it should have certain criteria, like example, it should have a safe, not to harm for human body, and it should have a sustainability, that is it should not break it down in the shorter lifetime, but easy to dispose, because whenever we do any technology devices on developing, there is a major problem is disposing. So how the electronic gadgets or electronic devices can dispose so easily, so that also we should consider when we go with the new renewable energy. But when we will, whatever we do in the laboratory scale, it has to scale up with the technology also. So that is a way incorporation into technology. That is small devices which are a prototype or proof of concept which we're developing in the laboratory. It has to go with the technology also, and longer lifespan also. For example, if I do some technology development today, it has to come not for the year, it has to go for a decade. So it has to go for longer lifespan with a minimal maintenance. That is a major advantage we require when we go for the renewable energy. So whenever we talk about the renewable energy, so there are the three different considers. So one is a mechanical energy, thermal energy, and solar energy. So all these energies are tapped from the environmental point of view. If you see, the environmental have some wastage of different phenomena. So the different phenomena of wastages can convert it into electrical. For example, the first one, if you see mechanical energy, so it can work on the based on the vibrations, or it can work on the based on the shear force. So what happens? So here we can see the piezoelectric and the triboelectric effects. Both energy can harvest the energy from the mechanical force like vibration as well as the shear force. So shear force is nothing but the surface to surface interaction. And the next one we can see the thermal energy. So in this thermal energy we can see pyroelectric and the thermoelectric. So pyroelectric is not depends upon the difference of temperature. It can rely on only one temperature. But if you see the thermoelectric, it depends on the difference of temperature. For example, one end is cold, one end is hot. So the difference of temperature, the power can be generated. So that is the way the thermal energy will be working. And the next one is solar energy, which is nothing but the photovoltaic application from the sunlight. But again, we categorize the scaling point of view. If you scaling point of view, if you categorize, so macro energy is nothing but the greater than watts. Whenever we generate the energy greater than watts, we can consider as a macro energy. In that, we can see that wind energy and the solar energy. But when we go the micro energies, we can see that low power sensors, nanowatts to milliwatts, whichever is the like vibrations, like tribo energy, piezoelectric energy, and even we can say the thermoelectric energy. Also, we can say that micro energies, and even sometimes solar also can come under micro energies. So these all three comes under the micro energies. So in our research, we focusing on the micro energy harvesting, so especially on the thermoelectric and the solars. So here we can see, for example, the difference of energies, green energies was distributed here. For example, the first one is photovoltaic cells and the second one is the thermoelectric cells. So photovoltaic, we can see the sunlight towards the panel of the PV, and the electrical energy is converted from the sunlight source. But here we can see the hot source is there and the heat sink is there, that is cold side. Hot and cold, the difference of that, the PN junction will be formed and the circuit is closed, the power is generated. So both their energy or the clean energy sources only, environmental point of view if you consider. But what is the greater advantage and disadvantage of both the energies is, like if you see for photovoltaic energy, we can see it depends upon the sunlight. Yes, as well as whenever the sunlight leads or darkness is taken, it leads to the energy shortage. As well as longer term of the power supply is not possible for the solar energy for the longer duration of the portable devices. So that's why people are moving nowadays are the thermoelectric devices, so which can able to convert the heat to electrical energy, as well as it can easy to dispose, and there is low power production cost also when you consider with the solar PV. So and solar PV, when your production is taking place, CO2 emission will be more larger amount. But when you go with the thermoelectric, it's not much the energy was produced, the CO2 emission was produced on this, because it majorly considered as a free from the gas emissions. So what is thermoelectric? So if you see the thermoelectric, so the thermoelectric basic phenomena is waste heat can be converted into electrical energy. What is the scientific phenomena? So if you see the scientific phenomena of the thermoelectric is, the thermal energy can electrical energy, or electrical energy can thermal energy, vice versa can be obtained in the principle of Seebeck effect. So the Seebeck effect is a primary phenomena which says about, so whenever there is a difference of temperature from the hot side and the cold side, the difference of that, the electrical energy was produced. So here we can see that low energy was temperature, the other side is high temperature, that is delta T. So that is the difference of temperature plus the actual temperature. If you consider this room temperature as 30 degree and this may be the 50 degree, so the delta T is 20 degree. So 30 plus 20 is 50 degree. So the difference of that, the electrical potential was generated. And while going with the thermoelectric, again we have a more advantage is Like example, it's very minimal maintenance. Environmental friendly, we know that solar and this both are environmental friendly, but very minimal maintenance of the required, and the noiseless. It's not give any humming noise and any noise, and vibration free also. So the thermoelectric can two application majorly sensors and the power generators. We working on the power generators. So how the thermoelectric power generator categorized and the efficiency can be calculated. So here we can see there are the four different characters. So one is a Z, which is nothing but the figure of merit, which shows about the efficiency of the device. And then these three parameter we can see that S square, sigma, and kappa. So S is nothing but the Seebeck effect, sigma is nothing but the electrical conductivity, kappa is nothing but the thermal conductivity. So if you see more detail, so Seebeck is nothing but, as we discussed already, the primary phenomena is Seebeck effect. So which is nothing but delta V by delta T. So the difference of temperature, whenever we have, the difference of voltage will be generated. So that is nothing but the thermoelectromagnetic force. So what are the type of material can be used in this thermoelectric application? If you see here, we can see three different materials generally we have in the market, like a general natural scenario, like insulator, semiconductor, metals. If you see the insulator, Seebeck is very good, but poor in electrical conductivity. But if you see the metals, very good in electrical, but poor in Seebeck. So we always rely on the semiconductor materials, so which have a very good nature of optimum condition for the highest efficiency, as well as if you want to go with the highest efficiency of the Z, so we always go with the optimum doping level, which is nothing but the carrier concentration should meet 10 power 18 to 10 power 20. So whenever we have a N-type and P-type of the carrier concentration of the electron mobility of 10 power 20, which is very good for the thermoelectric application. And the third parameter, which is nothing but the kappa. So kappa we again categorize into two phenomena. One is a phonon and the electron. So whenever we talk about the so if you want to increase the Z, what we do, we will try to increase these two parameter, or we decrease this parameter. So when we try to decrease the kappa parameter, what we can see is we can increase the Z. So here we can see, so what are the ways to decrease the kappa? So first one, two phenomena. So whenever we can try to decrease the electron phonon, so what happens when we try to decrease the thermal conductivity of the electron, it will disturb the electrical conductivity and the Seebeck. So that's why the people focus on phonon tracking effect. So which is, so phonon interaction, phonon electron interaction. So with the help of that, the thermal conductivity can be decreased towards the phonon, which can able to make the very low condition even in the without disturbing of the electrical property and the Seebeck coefficient. So that is a way. So here we can see that, so it's still maintained constantly with the help of the transmission wavelength, because the transmission path of the phonon is 300 nanometer. So whenever the path wavelength is less than the 300 nanometer, the more scattering will be taken place. So due to that, what happened? So it decrease the heat transportation. So that is a way we can able to decrease the phonon transmission. So what are the type of materials we can use it? So here we can see there are different materials will be used, waste heat, and can be able to from 0 degree to 1200 degrees Celsius. And here we can see there are different materials people are working in. For example, in a conventional, if you see, so bismuth telluride, cobalt, antimony, so zinc antibody, these are the materials working. But these materials need some consideration. Like example, we need to work on the closed environment, not on the open oxygen environment. So that is the reason that people are moving on the low impact oxide based materials, silicide materials, and silicon germanium materials on this category. And next one, we can see different temperature applications. For example, low temperature waste heat recovery, like solar panel or the sensors or the heaters, industry heaters, up to 250 degree, we can go with the bismuth based materials. But if you go with the behind the 250 degree to 550 degrees Celsius, like example, automobile industries and the furnace, big like a industrial furnace. So all those category we can see that, so it goes with the above 250 degree and below 500 degree, then we can go with the scodite materials. And if you go more than that, like a power plant and the steel and glass production plants, the furnace, all those things have a high temperature above 500 degree. So those areas we can tap the power in the Huffazell materials, which will be have highest efficiency. But all these materials are commercially, but people are working on them recently. We can see that other than the different material, like as we said here, like zinc antimony, cobalt antimony, all those different materials, oxide materials are the major involvement in this. From 2000 onwards, the low impact materials like a silicide materials, strontium titan oxide, and cobalt and calcium, zinc, all these oxide based materials are majorly involved in from 2000 onwards, where the rapid growth was taking place. So now we in application point of view. So if you see, so what we trying is, so from body heat we can tap the electrical power. So how we going to tap the electrical from the body heat? For example, here we can see ambient temperature and the room body temperature. Difference of that we can generate the electrical power. And this power not only for the body heat, as well as if you go the real time scenario, we can put it on the umbrellas, we can put it on the curtain, tents. And why we always go with the TE material, which is easy to bring it to technology point of view also, as well as even in the medical industries application, IoT devices majorly involved thermoelectric scenario. So here we can see, so the why the reason is, whenever we see about the implant of medical devices, it go with the battery. So the battery is not give longer term of the power, so we need alternate energy, or we need to replace the battery. So whenever we replace the battery, we cannot come back with the again the original calibration. We need to calibrate, keep on again every time when we replace the battery of the medical devices. So that scenario, to avoid the calibration error, so what people are trying is, people keeping auxiliary energy renewable energy system which can charge the battery after regular interval of power dissipation. So for that reason, thermoelectric is majorly involved, as well as when we are in demand of increasing technology, like example, whenever we buy any technology, like even laptop or mobile phone, we always seek about the low weight and high flexibility and stretchable. And these are the parameters we consider for the technology development when we come to device making. So really it is from body heat it's possible to tap the power. Yes, we can see here, so the different part of the body we can generate the different part of energy. For example, if you see here the arm, it can generate 60 watts. If you see here the foot, 67 watts. So the different part of the body can generate as a different part of energy, as well as different activity also can have different power can be generated. If it's an ideal case like a sleeping, 81 watt power can be generated. If you see in the running or walking, more activity involved, we can go up to 1000 watts. So that is, whenever you have a more activity, the power dissipation will be taken from the body out in terms of heat. So that heat can be tapped from any part of the body, wherever and what application we require, we can tap the power. And still you have wondering, really it is possible in the real-time industry? Yes. So here we can see there are different applications we can see here. So the Seiko Thermoelectric company has been developed in 1998, Japanese company, which was developed the watch which work from the body heat. So this watch is available even in Amazon. So it's around $200 it cost about. And these watches have it doesn't have any battery. It will work based on the body heat itself. And the next one we can see the skinny player, which was developed by the Chinese professor. So what he made is, so whenever you put your stick of the speakers on your sticky player, so which can able to play from the song from the device itself. And this device, the power is taken from the body heat. And the advantage of this device is, whenever we go with the rainy or water more sweating or whatever happen, it cannot peel off so easily. So that is a major advantage of the skinny player of this device. And it have a preloaded songs also. And the next, even Nokia has developed the devices. We can see here Nokia E, which is the environmental, CU is copper, which was developed in 2011 and released in London. And it was still in social economy people. It was a social people. It was the R&D. It's with the very less number of people they're working on. And here we can see the backside is a copper grid, the device, which when you put on your pocket, it can able to charge the device. It's not required any chargers separately to charge the mobile phone. And next one we can see, as I said earlier, based on the activity of the body, it can increase the power. So here the person is dancing and here walking. Whenever normally it require 12 hours to charge or like a 10 hours to charge the mobile phones. But when you do activity more, the power is more dissipate out. Due to that, it can able to charge in 15 to 20 minutes also. And finally, we can see Fujifilm. The Fujifilm is working with the ACE Institute of Advanced Institute of Science and Technology in the Japan Institute from 2013. So they developed the transparent polymer. Here we can see one end is room temperature, other end is body heat. So the difference of that, it will be working on and off the device. So these are the real-time applications in the market. It's available for the based on the body heat alone. And now coming back to research. So if you see the research phenomenon, how the device is developed. So here we can see there is a bismuth telluride material as a one-type material, P-type, and N-type material as an antimony telluride. That is, here we can see the dots PN junction has been created with the help of the screen printing, and the device was developed like 12 pair of device has been generated. With the help of this, we can see here, so over the body, the power is generated. 2.9 millivolt DC power can be generated from the body heat of 12 pair of leg. But here the fabrication process, if we see, so as we know, generally whenever we talk about the PCB board, we need an electrode, like a PCB electrode system, top and bottom, to connect the PN junction. So the same phenomena here also, we can see the top electrode and bottom electrode. So the sandwich of that, we can able to cover the PN junction as like a Z type of connection. So here we can see the top electrode and bottom electrode was there, and over that we can see here there is a fabric was coated on that. In that fabric we can see that N-type material and P-type material alternately it was made at like, and over that we make a nickel copper, which is act as a current collector, and then finally the package is maintained, and after that it put it in the PDMS, because we can see here there is a gap was presented in between the legs. So to avoid the breakage of the device whenever bendability, we need to fill the some material in this open environment. So for that purpose, the people are going on the PDMS material. So the PDMS is polydimethyl siloxane material, which is a silicon based material, and which will be filling the devices, and it looks like this transparent device. But the problem of this device was this device was developed in 2014. But the problem of this device is it can able to bend it up to 120 times. But over the 120 times, the device is bent, it's not able to bendability. And the next one is, we can see here the bendability is up to 20 mm. More than this, we cannot able to bend it. So to why the reason and to increase the efficiency, the people has again worked on that. They found it. So there is a distance between the copper electrode and the PN junction. So there is a gap was presented. So to eliminate that gap, there is another layer was introduced, metallized layer. So here we can see that the another people was worked on this. So here there is a flexible device. So in this device, we can see the same polymeric base material, but copper strips. So over the top and bottom was a copper strips was, and it's connected with the flexible PCB board. So it can goes up to 30 mm of the diameter, the bendability. Compared with the previous is 20, this is 30. But it can go for the longer lifetime, like up to 1000 bendability, the lifetime it can goes, the device not able to break it, and it can generate the 6.6 millivolt in the delta T of 5.8 Kelvin. So very small of difference of the 5.8 Kelvin, it can able to generate 6.6 millivolt, which is more enough for the low power sensor applications. And the next up people working in the North California University, we can see here. So the thermolytic device was put it on the skin, as well as we can see here the chest, the people are put at the device, and these devices can able to tap the power from the body heat from the chest onwards. So here we can see, so based on the different timing of how long we are placing on the body heat, so based on the different timing, the power also can be increased, how long you're putting your device on your body, as well as placing on your body where you kept. For example, if you see the chest, so the chest power can able to maintain up to 10 watt per microwatt can be generated. If you see that over the t-shirt, so then it can able to lesser than that 5 microwatt power can be generated. But if you see the arm, upper arm like this, upper arm, so here we can able to generate up to 20 microwatt power can be generated. But if the wrist like this, so then you can see it's a lesser than that. So upper arm can give maximum power. So that's what, based on the device material and the based on the where we placing, the power can be increased. And the next one is paper-based devices. So in the paper, they're making PN junction and they make it. The advantage of this is like in planar, they made a device. So here you can see that previously under it, the device electrode has been made like a top and bottom, like a sandwich kind of thing. But here we can see P-type and N-type, it's like a Z kind of thing. So there is not required any electrode on top and bottom individually. They're making there is a substrate was maintained. Over the substrate, like a pinhole console, like in a PCB board, we have a surface mount device and the pinhole devices. So the same kind of thing, pinhole devices concept, the electrode has been made, and over the electrode, the device has been generated. And here also we can see that. So the bismuth telluride and antimony telluride was developed in this silicon fiber, and it can generate up to 100 cycle. It can go and it can generate 15 nanowatts and 10 milliwatts power can be generated on this. And here also we can show the another graph. We can see that whenever the people in stationary, the power can generate 2.5 milliwatt, and whenever he go for a walk for 30 minutes or whenever he walking, he can generate increase the power. And the next is we can see that wristband, it was generated in the kin fiber. So the kin fiber can absorb the water resist. That's the reason the kin fiber was used indoor and outdoor. Whenever the sweating is happen, how the power is output. Even whenever the sweating also, the power is not compromised. It can generate up to 20 to 25 milliwatt power can be generated. And the delta T difference was 30 to 35 degree. And there are different scenarios in the skin. We can see the like a different heat source of absorb, like this is body heat, and these two are the differences. And here we can see that power can be generated up to 12 millivolts. And the next devices we can, so University of Hong Kong has been developed the thin film based devices. Here we can see that thermal evaporation technique. By using thermal evaporation, we can see that there's a stencil, and below that we have a polymer substrate like a PET. It's like a like a glassy fabric. So that over that we have a stencil template. So based on the stencil, which we have a like pencil stencil, same kind of thing. So over that we can make a like a P and P and P, and alternate the junction has been generated and electrode has been formed. Like this the final device looks like. So once the device is developed, it can connect it directly towards the device. We can generate the power of 5.3 milliwatt power can be generated. And here we can see, so it's directly connected with the watches. So watches is intermediate circuit was developed like a DC to DC converter, which is considered as a buck boost converters. And then it's stored in the capacitor. So when it's storing in the capacitor, it can increase the power efficiency, energy power can be increased, and it gives to the watches. And to verify that, here there is a heating sources was shown. The difference of delta T, for example, the low temperature is 22 degree and the high temperature is 84 degree. The difference of 62 degree, the power is 3 volt. So whenever the delta T is increased, the power can be increased. That is the way that C image was showing. And the B image was real-time scenario. We can see the watches can able to run from this device itself. And all the cases, the people are working on the electrodes. So in this D image, we can see the electrode was there, copper electrode. So to avoid that, the people was started with, so we started working with the case. So what we made is screen printed electrode. So with the help of the screen printed electrode, we can see here the electrode was screen printed, over there the solder paste, and over there the current collector, and over there the thermoelectric legs. So with the help of this, so the device is developed like this. Transparent of device can be generated, and it can give the maximum power density of 6 milliwatt. It's not a microwatt, it's a milliwatt. 6 milliwatt power can be generated. This is the highest efficiency of power generated till in this year. So, and what are the issues again it comes? So whenever we talk about, even though we tried with the screen printer of replacing the electrodes, the problem is flexibility. So that's why the people started working on the fabric based devices, because the fabric is not erode or corrode so easily. And when you go with the conducting fabric, when it for over long time, it cannot be break it down so easily. So we started our research with oxide based materials initially because of low inexpensive material and easy to obtain and non-toxic in nature of environment. But when you go with the P-type NMET material, we can see that P-type material initially started with the graphene oxide, reduced graphene oxide, and N-type material we go with the zinc oxide. And the next scenario, we can see the different methodology we are used here, like a sol-gel process, hydrothermal, and different scenario chemical method approaches, and even the sputtering the top-down approach, which I shown the earlier in this nanostructural material preparation, top-down approach and bottom-up approach. So after that, we can see different nanostructures also can be developed. So there are the different nanostructures like 1 dimension, 2 dimension, 3 dimensions, like a nano rod, nano needle, nano sheets, nanoflakes, nanoflows. Different structures has been generated. And how we going to generating the structure is Like we take a fiber, and the over fiber we generate a seed layer, and above that we make a growth layer. So because of these reasons, we can see, so the nanostructure was sheet-like structures has been obtained so easily and customized also. So now finally comes to our lab, what we doing exactly. So our lab has 4 categories. One is a materials engineering, like I previous slide. We do different type of materials engineering, and we develop the devices, and finally we validate the devices. To develop the devices, so we need to perform the device like a bendability, and we need to measure the device of the power. So we need to validate those devices. We go with the validating the devices which we develop from our research lab itself. And finally we integrate with the real-time scenario also. For this example, there is a real-time existing devices. With the help of the existing devices, we need to integrate the device. So for that scenarios, we go with these methodologies. So first, materials engineering. If you go with the materials engineering, we can see here, so nanorods and the surface coating, and then sheets and the spear-like structures, and the bunched nanorods, and the flower-like nanorod, hollow-like structures, and here we can see like spindle-like structures and porous structures. And so there are different nanostructures, because whenever we talk about the nanostructures, as I said in the earlier example, so phonon tracking effect. So the phonon, if you want to decrease the phonon efficiency, so what we do is we need to increase the phonon wavelength. We decrease the phonon wavelength. So whenever we make the materials less than the 300 nanometer, it can decrease the phonon phenomena. So obviously we increase the ZT. So that is a way we try with the different nanostructures, and even porous structures. Porous structures, when we make, more scattering will occur. So due to that more scattering, it can decrease the phonon and it increase the efficiency. And next one is device development. In this device development, what we doing is, so we make a, so whenever we see the traditionally, so the traditional device was developed. In this traditional development device is like a rigid in nature, it's not bent too much. But when we go with the fabric based devices, we can put a p-tape, n-tape in between dielectric layer, then p-tape, n-tape in between dielectric layer, like that. Alternately we can develop the device like this. So p-tape, n-tape, p-tape, n-tape in between dielectric layer, so the power can be generated like this. And what we doing is we replacing the copper electrode by the conducting fabric, we generating the fabric, conducting fabric, and we generating. Here we can see our research lab result is, so for the IoT device application, the power is generated from the body heat itself. So for example, if some IoT devices is there, it's not required any energy from externally. So from the body heat itself, we can generate the power like this. So this power can be tapped from the body heat, and here we can see, so to make sure here body heat, you can generate 2.2 millivolt power can be generated. And we want to make sure with the difference of temperature, we make a hot plate, that is like a induction stove. So we make a hot plate, and the hot plate temperature is 35 degree, and over that we kept room temperature was 28 degree, and the difference is almost 7 degree. In the 7 degree we can see 2.8 millivolt was generated. So the power can increase whenever the delta T is increased. And here we can see the another device which have a different material, and which was generated 2.6 millivolt power can be generated from the body heat. So from the body heat, the power can be generated, and which is used really for the IoT device applications. And next one is validating the devices. So we develop the devices. How we do validate the device? So for example, this is a traditional measurement devices for the thermoelectric measurement, but these material devices are like very expensive. So for what we doing is, our lab, we developing a devices like connect jointly with the Suzuka University Japan. We developing a device like this, vertical, like a vertical manner as well as the horizontal manner, because whenever we wear the devices, we don't know whether we wear it vertical or horizontal. So we need to from vertical, horizontal, both the scenarios, as well as whenever you give any pressure, because when we wear that shirt or something, the wherever the particular patches was generated the power, it has to compress or expanding will be taken place based on our body activity. So we need to test the mechanical strengthening property also, stress strain versus also. So for that we develop a devices to measure that. And next one is integrating a device. So in integrating devices is what we do is, so now recently we got a project from DST, and we are working is, so the power can generate from the tapping, as well as here we can see the example, we can show that. So this is jointly with Suzuka University. What initially we started with the co-harvesting the power from the piezoelectric and the thermoelectric. Here we can see there is a cold thermoelectric junction and the hot thermoelectric junction, and the difference of that, the power can be tapped, as well as the piezoelectric also in the another top. So it's like a bridge. Example, if you see a bridge, there is a pillars, and over that there is a power where the bridges is there, that due to the vibration it can generate the power. So here we can see the example video. So here we can see that so initially there is initially 0 volt, there is no vibration was given. So whenever there is no vibration, there is no power was generated. So then the vibration is created. So here we can see that, so initially whenever there is no vibration, there is no signal, was the power was generated. But whenever we can see that, so whenever we can see that hot junction and cold junction, there is another power thermoelectric it was generating, but there is no piezoelectric power. But when we increase the piezoelectric, so vibrations, the power is generated and the thermoelectric also generated. That's simultaneously both the power is generated. And the next scenario we can see, when we increase this vibration speed, so the sinusoidal wave is power is increased, so the frequency is increased. So due to this, what will happen, whenever we tap the power from simultaneously piezoelectric and the thermoelectric. So this is the basic scenario was generated from the Suzuka University. So our collaborating laboratory has been generated. But what we did is, so based on this concept, we generating the ECG signal. So what we make is, so the ECG signal were tapped from the pulse. So the vibration of this pulse, from the pulse, we can generate the physiological sensing devices. So now the another integrating devices is like the previously example piezoelectric. So here we can see that the device was initially generated, it can goes up to 2.2 volt. But here we can see that, so there is a only 4 leg was generated from the device, and this device can initially 1.1 volt. And whenever I give the pressure, body heat as well as the pressure simultaneously, we can see that power can goes up to 20 millivolt. So whenever the power keep on increase the pressure and the body heat, the power can be increased highly. So finally, so last slide. So our lab started from the basic research to the laboratory market, and we are in right now in the demonstrable technology prototype from our lab for the IoT device applications. So the IoT device applications, the power can tap from the body heat itself, and a research group. And so these are people are we jointly working, our international collaborator who supporting us for our research. So our funding research engines, like example DST and Mighty and Digital India and Macy's University Russia and Kais from South Korea and Asiana from India. So thank you. And the people who are interested to work on the thermoelectric, so our suggestion is, like last year there is a paper was published in Nature Scientific. So you can see the different new materials was generated. Even you can do in simulation, this all type of new materials is going to be explored in the thermoelectric as a high efficiency of power generation. So thank you. So any questions?
Yeah, sir. Thank you very much for your very good presentation, sir. Dear participants, if you have any questions, kindly post. Sir, we have few questions,
Yes.
sir. Is shape of nano devices fixed?
The shape of nano there is nano material is not fixed. So as I shown you the example, so example we can see different shape. See, the different shapes have different property. So whenever we have a hollow structure, so the scattering will be more higher. So whenever we have a rod structure, the scattering is less. So whenever we have a porous like this structures, so the scattering will be higher. So based on the application, the scattering based on the need, we go with different application point of view. It's not fixed, it will be vary.
Okay, sir. Next question. Is there any side effects of thermoelectric devices to human body?
No, actually, if you see here the devices, so in our lab devices also we can show here like So here we can see that, so the device with covered with the filling material like a polymer. So whenever you touch the material, you're touching the polymer, not on the chemicals. So here also we can see that it's covered like a cellophane tape. It's like a transparent material. So here also you can see the polymer. So the device was developed and it's filled with the polymeric material, which is like a normal our mobile phones. Like example, if you see the scratch card of the mobile phones, like so like that, it will be looks like it's not directly contact with your body surface, and it have up to 1000 to 2000 of cycles of bendability. The device never break down.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Is there differential geometry used?
Different geometry means you're talking, I think you're saying about material or devices. So if you consider devices different geometry, as I shown you the previous example, like example our lab be working on different geometry, like whenever you put the fabric devices on the vertical as well as horizontal. So when we put our body, we don't know how the energy going to be tapped in the vertical nature or horizontal nature. So for that reason, so vertical also we need to test it, and horizontal nature also we need to test it. It have a geometric like nature, because in plane and in axis and out axis, and towards the in plane there are different phenomena, but towards the vertical axis direction there is a very good efficiency can be obtained from the thermolytic application.
Yeah. How max is used here, sir?
How?
Mathematics.
So here mathematics phenomena means calculating the theoretical calculation is nothing but the ZT. So these three phenomena. So if you talk about these three phenomena, like so Seebeck square, H square, then electrical conductivity, sigma, and kappa. So these three phenomena, not only these three, if you go with the Seebeck, again we talk about the Joule's effect. So Joule's effect is nothing but the QH. The QH is taken from the, so like Joule's phenomena, like example we say, like if it started from the cold heat and the hot junction, so convention conjunctions, all those phenomena and the radiation effects, so all these three different parameters of we should consider, and we'll go with the effective mass also. So effective mass means, like example, eta power star. So eta star is nothing but the effective mass, that is the mobility of the electron. So there are the more phenomena. This is a general formula, but if we take only Seebeck, there are the different phenomena was involved. Conductivity is there. Conductivity is nothing but they talk about the resistance, and the resistance we have to calculate the theoretically how the, if for example if I use the silicon material, the band gap of 3.2 volt, for example, the band gap is 0.7, the silicon which we have used. So then I have to calculate the theoretically with respect to the band gap, what will be the electron mobility if the heat is increased, the QH is increased. So what the electron mobility from hot junction to cold junction. So that we have to calculate. So theoretically also we can calculate. There are the two softwares generally we use. So one is for the device we use COMSOL. The other one we use for the, like atom wise, we use a Vane2K and VASP. So VASP and Vane2K are the really good software for the atomic structure wise to calculate theoretically for mathematical expressions. And or else you can go with the device scenario, you can go with the COMSOL.
Yeah, I think that's all the questions, sir.
Okay.
So I will collect the questions and share you, sir, if they send.
Okay, sure. And if the people are interested, you can always get in touch, like you can email us. So if you have, like if the students are there, students can come for internship. So in our research, but we are offering the students internship also. But the minimum period is at least 5 months, 4 to 5 months they have to stay, and they have to work on the research. So then only we can come up with the product-based development of the device. So we always look for the intern, give the opportunities for 5 to 6 months.
Okay, sir. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.